everybody. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I hope everybody is doing well. And looks like everything looks good on this end. So we'll go ahead and say hello to everybody. Hi there, Cynthia. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're exhausted. We're happy to have you here as long as you're able. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Mina. Hi, Rick. Hi, Steve. Doing well, thanks. I hope you are too. Cynthia, your dog had surgery on Tuesday for cancer. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, that's so nice of you, though, to hang with her. And still trying to get to work. Oh, boy. Hope you get some good rest tonight. Hi, Vivian. Oh, where did they go? I lost everybody. Oh, there you are. Okay. Hi, Desiree. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Rhonda. All right. Sounds lovely. Thanks for everybody being here tonight. Okay, so we're gonna jam pack 2 beginner projects into one live stream. So here we have, these are the other ones that you guys were voting on in Mighty Networks, our paid platform. You guys are all there, you rock. And this is one of them that you guys wanted to do. And then here's the other one of Here Comes Santa Claus. And got those transferred on, and we're really ready to go here. I was kind of experimenting with different points. So just kind of split things up. Tonight I'll be doing this project with the Versatool and probably the mini flow point and the shading point. And then this one I'm going to create with the razor tip, and I'll do the ballpoint for the lettering, and then I have kind of a modified, really small, kind of a round shader that I really like the fur strokes for. So another thing with this one is we're not going to have hardly any lines on the cat. This time we are going to create the illusion of the cat with fur strokes around the edges. So I just have a few little guidelines there. Anyway, lots of fun, and we will do the best we can to get through both of these in the evening that we have, and I think that I can do that, so I will try to stay focused here. Mina, I love the attitude of this deer too. He just seems so proud of himself that he's all tangled up, like he meant to do that, which is really, really cute. Alrighty, Mina, thanks for the link. Mina put in the link in the chat, a link to Mighty Networks. If you are unfamiliar with that, that's our paid platform where you get access to all of our past live streams, wonderful community discounts, and all kinds of great stuff. So definitely take a look at that. Hi, June. Barbara, your kitty is happy that we're doing the kitty project. Cool. Oh, Barbara, you lost one of your kitties. I'm so sorry. They're so sweet. All right, so I think we'll go ahead and start. We'll zoom in and we'll dive right into this text here. It shouldn't take too long. But I'll zoom in so you guys can see a little better. This project is a 5x7, and we're burning on basswood. Oh yeah, there's around. Huh. Okay, so I wound up rearranging my work area again for Christmas because we got to get a tree in here. So a little different, but just making sure that everything works after I move stuff is important. Okay, so my burner is on high heat, max temp. Sometimes I need to get my eyes to adjust a little bit more to the close-up work. Thank you, 40s, for that. And we'll just start working on our outlining. And then we'll go ahead and block in the rest. So I think, and then with the deer, I'm going to kind of do most of that also with the mini flow point, except for the light bulbs. I think those need to be a touch more delicate and dainty. So I think I will put those in with the shading point. No, you don't need to run a smart scan. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. Why do you have to do this right now? Oh, well, fine. Go away. Okay. Glad you're here, June. That's okay if you're not in the chat. It's just lovely to have everybody here. Hi, Estella. It's amazing how chunky these letters wind up becoming, much more so than what you see kind of on the printout. Just the way that we burn across the lines, it just makes it a little chunkier. Ew, please go away. There we go. Well, we'll probably go get our Christmas tree tomorrow. I'm hoping. We're supposed to get quite the snowstorm coming in tonight. We could get, I think they're forecasting 5 to 9 inches overnight. And then another 4 to 8 tomorrow, so it could be pretty snowy. And then I think they said 30-mile-an-hour gusts, so it's going to be hopefully a good storm. Oh, Barbara, your kitty would have been 14. Oh dear. Yeah, it's it just goes by too fast with our sweet furry babies. Okay, so maybe in the interest of time, for right now, I'm just going to outline the text, and then you can go ahead and block that in with burning, or you could even fill that in with color. You know, I just don't understand why my camera mount is being so bad. But if you want to add color, you can add color inside of these too, or just fill them in with burning. Since we do have 2 projects tonight, I will probably just outline them and we'll go from there. Let's see. Mina says the polar vortex will be a big one. It sounds like, yeah, it could be pretty crazy. Hi, Tracy. And sometimes it can be helpful just to go through and do all the vertical work first. That's totally fine. Let's see, Barbara. Yeah, we definitely need snow this year. I hope we get a really good, strong winter. Barbara, your sister got snow in Central Virginia. Wow. Yeah, it has been so dry here of late. Oh, let's see. Tracy, your dog has been sick and you had to put him down on Monday. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's so difficult, and I pray that you're able to find some peace. It's always difficult to lose them. Lisa, no snow in Florida. It's been raining. Oh, wow. Okay. You're going to have to build an ark. Oh, boy. Lots of rain. Got a little bit aggressive on that one. You're welcome, Tracy. Yeah. Kind of holding my breath on some of these curves. I'll probably have to fill that one in because I kind of made it a mess, but then we can go back in and add in the horizontal pieces there. So I think I mentioned on Monday that I might be doing kind of a guest teaching class for the Burn Club, and that looks like it's going through. We are scheduled to do that class on December 10th. I think that's a Wednesday, and it's 11 a.m. Eastern time, so that would be 1 p.m. Mountain time. And it's free to attend, so if anybody would like to join in, I will get the link. Mina, remind me after the class, and I will get that sent to you, and then we can put it on Mighty Networks for anybody that would like to attend the class. So I don't know that I have it. I can't put it in the chat here, but we can definitely post that in Mighty Networks. So, and it'll be like a 2 to 3 hour class, kind of like what we normally do here. I have not decided yet what I'm going to teach. We'll kind of see, but I'll get that figured out. Lisa is saying, wouldn't 11 a.m. Eastern be 9 Mountain? I'd have to look that up. You're right.
Yep.
It is the other way around. Oh my gosh, see? That's why I am not. Okay, thank you, Lisa. All right, so 11 a.m. Eastern would be 9 a.m. Mountain. Sounds like. Okay. So, well, good. I would have missed my own class then. Barbara, it sounds like it will be recorded, but the recording will go on to that Burn Club Plus, and I don't know if yeah, if I'll be able to have access to that, but cool. Yeah, I know it's kind of tough. The other time was going to be just really difficult for me with school and all that with kiddos. All right, so yeah, I thought it was going to be 1 in the afternoon. I'm like, that works, but no, it'll still work. But all right, so now we're going to switch over and start putting in some of the branch work here on the antlers. This is a really fun piece, and it's kind of a cross between antlers and tree branches. It's just a little bit of fun. I'm not going to really worry about shading on this project. There's a touch of shading kind of under his chin and his ear and his belly, but that's about it. We can kind of thicken up the branch antlers a little bit if we want. But yeah, I'll have to ask if I can have a recording and maybe just put it on Mighty Networks for later, for those of you that can't attend. Okay, has a big chunky nose there. Okay, and I think I'll go ahead and fill that in. Sorry, I'm not talking very much. I'm trying to kind of hold my breath. These lines are a little bit chunky for what we have going on here. Try not to make a mess. Okay, we'll go ahead and get the rest of this done, and then I'll move down a little bit. But we'll have kind of just a little dark spot here at the base of each of the light bulbs. Night Owl is asking if I'm going to post that on Woodburn University. I don't know yet, Rick. We'll have to see. Because I'm a guest, I don't know if I'll have access to the recording afterwards. Oh, but yes, yeah, Mina, we'll be posting the link to the class on, it won't be Woodburn University. It'll definitely be on Mighty Networks. We'll have to see. Okay. And then, hi Rabbit. Welcome, Rabbit Vibes. What kind of glove am I wearing? This is just a kind of a gardening glove. It's mostly synthetic. I think the cotton, you know, the front might be a little bit of cotton, but I wear it mostly to help prevent against accidental burns, just in case, you know, the burner slips or something. It doesn't get rid of a lot of heat when working with the burner, but I do find that working on an incline, I have an elevated drafting table, and that works, I think, best, more so than anything, to keep the heat kind of away from your hand. It makes the heat, when you work on an inclined surface, the heat kind of goes up this way instead of flat where it just pools underneath your hand. But I do have those, Mina has the link there. I do have a link to these gloves, specific ones, on my Amazon storefront, and Mina just put the link in the chat there. So if you are interested in learning more about the gloves, follow Mina's link and can learn more. Lisa, yeah, this is a small piece, and the mini flow point is plenty big for this one. Now this is a pretty simple project. Okay. I don't know why I disconnected, but I'm back. Okay. All right, you're very welcome, Rabbit Vibes. Thanks for hanging out here. Lovely to have new names and faces in the group. Awesome. Thanks, Mina. Now this project would look really cute in color. It's a little small, but you could still add color to these light bulbs. I think would be just fine. A little dab of sparkle, like the Yuli watercolors, would be very neat as well. Awesome, thanks, Rabbit. We meet here every Friday night from 6 to 8, and we work on a variety of different wood burning projects. This one's very simple. We do sometimes very simple ones. We do crazy big ones. Here's one that we did. Wow, that's the wrong way. On Monday night is our Feliz Navidad. Little wood burning. It's kind of fun. And sometimes we work on really big ones that take, you know, a few weeks to, you know, every Friday night get those done. So lovely to have you here. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and move down. So Rabbit Vibes, do you wood burn, or are you just getting... Are you an artist or just interested in anything like that? Cynthia, you have the same gloves and they work great. Awesome. I like these because they're very flexible and they don't seem to bind or pinch or anything like that. Yeah, this is definitely, I got my hair in the camera. Sorry guys. You see the top of my noggin there. Okay. Yeah, I would not want to go any smaller than a 5x7 on this project because this is a little bit tight to work with. That foot kind of got away. There we go. That's a little better. So I just want to make sure that I'm using really light pressure with doing these lines in one pass. If you're not comfortable with that, you can always make lines by piecing together some shorter sections like that too, and that works just fine. Rabbit, thanks. You actually just bought a better wood burning tool this week. Cool. You're planning to draw 2 of your pet rabbits on a cabinet door. Aww. My daughter would love to see those rabbits. Rabbits are her animal. Let's see. Yeah. Thanks, Mina. Yep, I go live every Friday from 6 to 8. And the first Monday of each month we do a beginner project too. How many rabbits do you have? Oh, that'll be fun. We've made a wood burning of a rabbit before. A realistic rabbit. We called him, I think, Mr. Whiskers, and he was standing up. That was one of our earlier ones that we did. You have 4 rabbits. Oh, that is lovely. So yeah, we do have some past live streams that could help. We've done many projects with realistic fur. Oh, and then here in a minute, we're going to be doing this wood burning here of this fluffy cat. And instead of doing line work like this, we'll be working more on creating the shape of the cat using fur strokes. And so that's what we're going to be doing here in just a few minutes when I'm done with this one. So if you're interested in learning more about fur, that would be a good one to hang around for. Rabbit, you have drawn a couple feathers on a small board and some mushrooms, but you really want to draw rabbits. Cool. Yeah, we'll jump over here as soon as I'm done with these little light bulbs on this guy, and then we'll start on the fur project. This one was pretty simple, but people wanted to see it done, so I thought, well, we'll do them both. It was Mina's idea. She's like, "What, can we do both?" And I said, that is a great idea. Mina, the bunny that we would burn was in 2023. That's what I was thinking, that it was about January. Okay, so to give this little fella some life, we're gonna, there's a lot of just line work, and I don't usually do that. I do smooth shading, but we can do some line work here. And I'm just gonna shade with lines. So we'll kind of come underneath the chin. It's kind of like cross hatching, but just hatching instead of the cross hatching. And we'll add a little bit on the belly. And then we can go back and create a little bit of a gradient just by burning a little darker, a little slower on the underside of the belly there. And let's add some to the tail, because that's fun. We'll do a little hatching on the leg. And then as we come down, we're just going to get darker and darker here. And we'll do the same thing on this one. go darker. Okay. We'll shadow under that ear. Let's darken it under the chin and neck just a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll add a few more of the dots on our light bulbs here. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in those back legs, and that dark value will push them back so that it looks a little bit more natural here. Rabbit, you're definitely interested in watching the cat. You're a crazy cat lady too. Aw, you have two. You've been at the vet with one of them twice this week. Aw, you have a sick kitty too. Golly. Boy, we have a lot of people tonight have been dealing with either sick pets or pets passing away. I don't know what it is, if it's the cold or what. I'm very sad to hear that. Been there, done that. It's not fun at all. It's very stressful. Okay, well, we're just a few minutes away from being done with this project. And we'll switch over to the kitty cat. Okay, so, and then that's just one layer. You can kind of go back and darken that up if you want. It's not super critical, but you certainly can if you want. Oh, I forgot his little cord. So let's do that. Because we are all tangled up with this guy. Oh, Rabbit, yeah. You were reading the comments, yeah. Yeah, it's so difficult. I had a kitty cat that kind of adopted me, and anyway, I had to get him through, you know, go through cancer, and he just, well, he got, oh my gosh, he was like the cat went through about all 9 lives. He got hit by a car, and I nursed him back. He broke his like little pelvis, and he was in a crate for 6 weeks, and anyway, got him all healed up for that, and then he almost died from a cat fight, and in the end it was cancer, but having to go through that is really difficult. So next we're just going to put in some shadow marks here. We have to ground our critter. Whenever we do something like this, we don't want them to be floating, so we will do a touch of shadow, and I just turn the wood because it's so much simpler with the way the wood burning tool works, and the way that I hold it. It's easier for me to burn this way. So don't forget to turn the wood if you need to. I forgot some light bulbs. And we'll do a little darker here in the main shadowy areas. Okay. All right, so let's take a look. This one's very, very simple. It's a great beginner project. If you find that you're just starting out and you don't want to work this small, that's okay. I left the letters open. You can add color to those, or you can just block them in. Rabbit, how old was the cat when I adopted him? He adopted me. He was actually a neighbor's cat, but he didn't like them. He liked me, and so he just walked into the house, and I didn't know at that time that he was somebody else's cat. But he was young, but I don't know. He was probably within it like a year, I would say. Alrighty, so And I thought he would live a lot longer than he did, but he was, I don't know, he didn't even make it to 10, I don't think. But yeah, so next up, we'll go ahead and start with this one. I am going to switch around and probably do a different burner. So that one that I was using, this is the Walnut Hollow Creative Versatool, and it's a solid point burner, and it has a variable temperature to it, and I just was running it on full high. Next, I'm going to probably turn these off so I don't forget and catch something on fire. Next, I'm going to be using the razor tip for this project, and we can jump back and forth between the razor tip and the Versatool if we need to, and just kind of experiment. But I like this one for the line work that we're about to do here. So, Rabbit, yeah, he was, I don't know, I don't think he made it to 10 because he kept going through those 9 lives. Alrighty, so let's see, I'm going to zoom in, and I think I was testing this earlier, and I'm going to be on a level 7, and this is that small round shader that I sanded and made it kind of more pointy. And anytime that I work with the razor tip, I like to experiment on the back side and just double check that my temperature is okay. And I think that's pretty good. It's kind of light, but our kitty cat is kind of light too. So, let's see. Oh, and I don't need the pad while I do that. Alright, so I'm just trying to see where I want to start. Here's fine. I'll try to start maybe in the shadows just so that I can make sure that I don't overburn. That's the biggest challenge that I have with the razor tip, is it burns really hot. I'm trying to get you over here where you can see both of them. And I don't normally burn with the wire tip burner like this, so I am trying to get back into the feel of it here. But instead of drawing those simple outlines like we did with the deer, we are going to start putting in just first strokes to make our edges. And it's okay if you start off kind of light like I'm doing here, because we can always add layers. And if you don't want to see those graphite lines that I put in there, just go ahead and sand those before you start burning would be best. It's harder to get rid of them after you burn over them. So in this project, we are creating kind of the outer edges with texture instead of line work. Tracy, oh dear. You were thinking cancer too. Dang. Yeah, sometimes I think it's the food that, you know, is causing a lot of that, but it's hard to tell. Alright, so I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit to get some of the base structure in. And every time that I put the burner down on the wood or lift it off, I'm doing that airplane mode. Land and take off, land and take off. And this level 7 is really quite nice for this to get some of our base lines in place. This point is a little bit sharper than the solid point burner ones, so this is indenting the wood a little bit more than the solid point burner, but that's okay for now. Let me Lisa, you switched to homemade dog food. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that's really good. Hi, Diane. Welcome. Do I often reshape the points? It depends. For the wire tip burners, I generally do reshape the points just because I haven't found one that I really like for everything. Most of my work, like 99%, is created with a solid point burner and the shading point right here, and I just use that upper part to kind of sketch. So I like the pointiness of that one, and this one was more rounded, and I kind of sanded it just to give it that similar feel for the kind of the shading point type feel. Tracy, I am using it was a small round shader, I do believe, but again, I sanded it to make it a little more pointy. Lisa, you're loving the lines. Yeah, they're fairly light right now, but so is our kitty. And I'm just trying to kind of get the feel for this here. And I'm liking that, so I'm going to turn it up. Let's go to like an 8. And now that I'm more comfortable with this point, let's turn that up and keep working on our shadows here. There we go. And the slower that you move that point, the darker the line is going to become. So even though that we're still creating the shape, we're not putting in those heavy outlines like we did with the deer. And whenever you do wood burning fur, you want layers, 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 lots of layers, and that will really help create the depth that we're after. Okay, so I'm liking that. That's looking pretty good. Let's keep on going here. And right now we're focusing mostly on the texture. We don't have a whole lot of shading yet. Let's see. Nina, thanks. Yeah, that kitty is super, super cute. I'm really liking this project too. I figured that this one would be one of the ones that you guys voted on. I was kind of a little surprised that the sheep was #1 over the kitty cat, but I figured we would probably do them both or all. So, Rabbit, you are trying to switch your pets to homemade food. Good. You bought ground turkey and you're watching recipes. Aw. You're not so trusting dry kibble. That's good. That's a good thing to make your own. All right. Definitely just jumping around here. We're going to put in that outer edge of the little Santa ball. And I like that it looks like cat hair. Of course, the kitty would wear a Santa hat that is probably made out of leftover cat hair. I think that's cute. All right, so we kind of get a little bit of the shape in there, and then we can add some shading kind of down here on the bottom. And maybe just a little bit more. So this is kind of a fun challenge to create an entire picture without using line work. Of course, you know, I'll have to do a little bit of line work around the eyes, but if you can try to create the whole image with just texture instead of lines, I think that's a good fun challenge. Kind of go around these little toes. It's got big fluffy feet. And I hope that you guys can see okay. Let me see if it looks a little bit dark. Come on. Okay, I guess we're there. Doesn't really want to change. Okay. This would be helpful too to try to turn the wood, but I think I'm just going to go ahead really quick. Let's darken up where the tail meets the kitty rump. Okay, and I'm hoping that I can get this all done. In the time that we have, I'll kind of keep jumping around here. Try to get kind of our base line work in. Okay, we want a little bit of kind of darker area in the inner ear. This can be a little softer shading in here. We don't have to have quite the texture that the kitty does. Rabbit is asking, what do you do when your art is finished? Well, if I add color to it, I'll go ahead and clear coat it, because once I add color, I can't really do anything as far as touching it up later, so I'll just go ahead and clear coat that. If it's a bigger piece, like a commission, a lot of times I will not add color and I will not add a clear coat, because then if my client needs touch-up work in the future, I can do that. But once I clear coat it, the touch-up is no longer an option. So my higher end pieces or commissions, I don't clear coat. The educational pieces like this, I usually go ahead and clear coat and then try to sell online. I have a storefront online. Both Wood Burning University and Minisa Pyrography is where I sell stuff. Most of my originals I sell on minisapyrography.com, or I just started an Etsy page too, so I think that's Art by Minisa or something. I have a couple of them. And a lot of times they just go into a box or a closet, and I keep them for later because I don't always have the ability to clear coat, because my studio is in the living room and I have to wait for good weather in order to do that clear coating. I think I'm going to sneeze. Maybe not. That's worse. Okay, Lisa, you're loving this pattern. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, this one is just adorable. Thanks, Mina. Mina has links in there too for some of the websites that I have. Thank you, Mina. Oh, you're finding all of them. Yeah, I have a few. So this is a bit different than what a lot of our other beginner projects, because in a lot of the beginner projects we do the line work. So this is just to kind of show you that you can still create something fairly simple, but you don't have to use the just lines all the time. And we don't really have a whole lot of shading in this one yet. But this is a great way to practice those first strokes. I'm going to really focus on the kitty, and then if we have time, I'll get the text, because we've kind of been doing a text refresher here the last couple sessions. Now this one is going to look absolutely adorable with white colored pencil, because of the way that I'm kind of indenting the wood there slightly. It will leave gaps, and the white colored pencil will stick to that, and it'll look just really, really great. But I don't know if I'll be able to do that tonight. We'll see. We'll just see how far I can get on this one, because I do want to add some layers of shading in here. And all we're going to do with that is just add more layers of fur strokes, and that will make some of our darker areas and our lighter areas. Okay. Thanks, Rabbit. I appreciate it. Yes, my bigger commission type work is on Minisa pyrography. That's where I have more of my fine art pieces. And then a lot of my smaller stuff, like educational pieces like this, I'll put on Etsy. It's just a probably a better market. Thanks, Mina. So yeah, these are some pretty simple, some simple projects compared to what I, do on occasion. So it's fun. I like these simple ones. We'll go and we'll spend 6 weeks on something really detailed and intricate and kind of large. I think 16 by 20 was that steampunk themed peacock that we did. So that was a big project. And I get, a little bit kind of a burnout after those big projects because it takes so long. So we'll switch and we'll do some of these smaller projects, which we can usually complete in an evening. And it's a wonderful sense of kind of like completion, and gives you a little bit more of that instant gratification that can be hard to get sometimes as artists. So it's nice to do smaller ones, and then I'll challenge myself with another big piece. So kind of flip-flop. Hi, Terry. Let's see, Vivian. You say, I know we do this sometimes, but all the patterns you show us to vote on are all great. It's difficult to choose. I think we should just vote on which one goes first and then do them all. And that's okay. That's totally fine. But I want to make sure that you guys get a voice as far as what we work on, because this is for you guys, and which projects are most important to you. And that's really cool. But yeah, I know I get to where I want to do a lot of them as well. So my burner seems like it's getting hotter a little bit. Got fluffy paws. Oh dear, Terry, your husband's sick. Oh, and he shared. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hope you get to feeling better. It is no fun at all. All right, so we have just a few little tufts of hair here and there. Okay, so I am gonna cheat a little bit on the eyes. Let me set this down, and I am much better, and I can control the burner much more with the Versatool, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in these eyes and the details of the face with that. I struggle with finding the right point with the razor tip. Hi there, Brooke. Welcome. Let's see. The rabbit had something first. The tool you just bought is by the brand WL Link. It has 4 custom points. I don't know that I'm familiar with that one. And Brooke, I am working on a kind of switching back and forth. This is a solid point burner, and I'm using the Walnut Hollow Creative Versatool, and this is the shading point. And I'll use that just for the fine details here of the face, because I am more comfortable with this burner. This is what I use to create most of my work. But the other one that I was using for the fur, we decided, I just thought, let's do something different. And that one is the razor tip, and it is the round shader that I kind of modified a little bit. I kind of sanded it down. I'm gonna hold my breath here. Okay. These are always a challenge. This one's not very good over here. It's hard to see. Okay. Yeah, it's always difficult. I can't quite get close enough. Sorry if you see my hair there. Okay. That's decent. All right, so here's a picture of that other point that I was using with the razor tip system. This was a small round shader, so it was more like the shape of a spoon, quite round, but I like that pointy kind of a chisel type point. So once the everything was off and cold, I took some sandpaper and I just gently adjusted it from kind of a U shape more to a V shape. Okay, so now that we have kitty cat there, I'm gonna go back and let's start adding a little bit more layers with that point. Okay. And once again, we're putting in mostly texture. So think of texture like a bristle brush, something really coarse. And that's what we're putting in right now. I am going to turn it up to like a 9 because I want to go a little bit darker here. And the faster that you move the burner, the lighter your line will be. The slower you move the burner, the darker the line will be. So now we're going to kind of start adding some darker values in these shadowy areas. And just putting in another layer. Now I know it doesn't really show it here on the pattern, but I like to make the edges of the critter a little bit darker. It gives it some more of a rounded look to it. Now we're going to be darker at the base of the tail. And we have a couple other little sections in here. But I would, this is a really good challenge. I would challenge you guys, if you want, to go ahead and try creating a project with nothing but lines, like texture, not lines. Tracy is asking, do you ever turn the little screw that could make it burn hotter? I haven't, but that is a really good point on the razor tip, because you can definitely adjust that with that built-in you put a screwdriver in there and turn it. Have you tried that, Tracy? Do you do that often? Is that something that you would recommend? So I'm trying to take my shading from around the edges, and then we're just going to pull it in a little bit and create more of a gradient. All right, this fella's looking pretty cute. And we definitely want to go darker under here. Just moving that burner slower. And then I want to pull that gradient inward just a little bit. Well, there's a couple people we haven't seen tonight. We haven't seen Larry or Kendale. Oh, there's some other people we're missing too. Tracy, you did turn it hotter when you were doing your daughter's centerpieces, so they burned really dark on the lighter wood. Cool. That's really neat. It's definitely a good option. So I'm rocking the burner down a little bit in my hand for some of the soft shading of the hat. So if I hold my burner more upright like this, I'm going to use that upper edge, and it's almost going to kind of cut little furrows. If I take that burner and I rock it down into a flatter position to where, I mean, if you could almost stamp it like this and you have it flat, then you can get a much different effect. So it depends on how you hold the burner here as well as to some of the different effects that you can get. Rabbit, this is basswood, which is one of my favorite types of wood to burn on. You can get it on Amazon. I used to get my basswood from Walnut Hollow, and they are not in business right now. So online is good to find that. Sometimes you can find them at craft stores, but woods that I would recommend that you don't use are things like pine. Pine has a lot of pitch and sap and smokes a lot, and it's a difficult wood to burn on, pine. But basswood is lovely. It's very light in color like this. It has comes in different shapes and sizes. A lot of the ones that I get have the live edge bark on the edges, which is one of my favorite types to burn on. Mina, so Mina, thanks. You got the link to my Amazon store. A lot of those were linked to Walnut Hollow, so I may need to go on there and kind of change that up a bit, but that might give you a good place to kind of start and see what you can find. Okay, so I'm liking that everything's nice and textured, and probably to make things go a little faster, I think I'm going to switch over to the shading point and fill in the rest of the fur. With that, it gives just a softer overall feel to it. And you can do this all with one point. It is what it is, but yeah, just get really kind of creative as far as the different ways that you can use the different points. This one, again, if you rock it up, you can get a very similar line to that one. If you rock it down, you get a softer one. Tracy is wondering if that means if Walnut Hollow may come back. I don't know. I hope they do. That's just a hope of mine, is that they will somehow come back one day, but I don't know. All right, so I am going to put in more fur strokes. These are going to be just a little bit softer than the other ones, but it'll kind of tie things together a little bit more. And I can do that faster with this one. But it's been a while since I've showed to do the razor tips, so hopefully that gives you some fun ideas to try with the different points. So we're going to add a little shading under these fluffy feet. Here is where sometimes I kind of go off of the script and away from the reference photo and start doing my own thing sometimes. Definitely want to push a little bit more, I think, shadows under these feet, and we'll ground the little fella here in a little bit too, just like we did with that deer. We'll add a shadow underneath so our kitty cat isn't just floating in the air. Rick says pine is not fine. Absolutely, it's difficult. Tracy says, I love how to tie everything together with shading and lines and shadows. I agree. So we're going to add more of a shading shadow at the bottom of the tail. And we can put some more shading on this here as well. Rabbit, you used basswood with bark edge for the mushroom drawing. You got it at the local woodcraft. Cool. That sounds like a good source for you then. Yep, basswood is the way to go, I think. There's all kinds of different woods, though. There's walnut, there's cherry. Cherry's nice. It gives a very reddish kind of look to it. You've got birch is another light colored one. Okay, just putting in some general fir strokes here to kind of fill in that area. Okay. Remember that our darks push back, our lights pull forward. So we'll darken up this center of the paw, and that'll make it kind of be more recessed. I'm going to add a touch of shadow on the paw. Rick, you missed having a woodcraft store nearby. Tracy likes to burn on white birch, but it's hard to find. That sounds like a pretty one too. So I know this is a very light colored kitty, but the more that you can add layers of shading, the more realistic and more kind of full it will look. And I'm trying to follow the direction of the fur too, so that's why I'm kind of going back and forth from side to side here to make sure that I keep the flow of the fur kind of in the right way. Just scruffy little fella. Okay, and then we can go through, and again, this is where I'm probably going to go off script. I like to add a little bit darker near the edges, pull that in towards the center. Kitties. Kitties are waking up. And you just kind of go through and you can keep adding layers of fur. One thing I like to try to do is leave a little bit of the unburned wood here and there peeking through, because that gives it the nice highlights that we want. If you just go through and you shade everything, your critter can look maybe a little bit flat. So try to keep some of that unburned wood just lightly peeking through there. Oh, you heard Barbara, you heard our kitties. Oh, I think that was Chipper. He's just getting up from a nap. Okay, so I want the kitty's face to kind of push back behind the paw. So I'm going to make this area just a little bit darker. Aw. You're going to have to do burnings, Barbara, of both your kitties. Pumpkin was a calico. Aw. We had a calico named Queenie there for many years. Push in the darkness there in the ear a little bit more. And just kind of jumping around hat needs to be darker too. Okay, so this guy is still pretty scruffy, and that means that we just have a lot of texture going on. So if I rock this point down a little and I start putting in some softer shading, that will make our kitty cat look more fluffy instead of coarse and bristly. The little kitty would be cute to do an ornament, so it looks like he's reaching up to an ornament on the tree. Yes. Yeah, I've got, I need to put that in there too, the ornament. And I'll get to that here in just a few minutes. So see, with just a little bit more softer shading in here, I rock the point down and it makes the fur look kind of softer. And that tapping, I'm still setting down and lifting off, setting down and lifting off, so that I have just a really nice smooth transition to the wood. Because if you don't do that, and if you just set the point on the wood and travel and then lift, you're going to get those stop spots at either end. But if you imagine that you're an airplane and you're coming in for a landing and you touch down and then you take back off again and your burner is in constant motion, you won't get those stop spots there. So when you make a directional change and you stop, that's when you're going to get those weird spots there. So if you wind up doing a box, you know, airplane, 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 and then that will help to avoid that. And if you do your fur strokes and you don't lift off, you're also going to get those stop spots. Oh dear. Yeah, Barbara, this has been a really rough year. I'm so sorry. You've had a lot of loss this year. So with this project right now, I don't have really any true level 5 darks. That's the darkest that you can get with your type of wood. If I go back and I selectively add in some darker areas, it will make those kind of pop a little bit and create just some more definition and depth. It'll make it look a little more 3D. Maybe push this a little bit darker in the paw area. And I think this one would be cute too. Okay. Alrighty, so next let's go ahead and put in that ornament. You guys can see. We're getting there on this tonight, guys. I need a little bit of a transition here on that fluff. All right, this one I am going to go ahead and put in some outline. And we'll do a touch of shadow on there, and then we can kind of start putting in some shadows under here too. You can make it really smooth, or you can kind of break it up and make this really, you could do the heavy texture, you can do cross hatching, whatever you want to do, just make sure that you add kind of a crescent shape down here of darkness, and that will create the illusion of the light. Mina, thanks for the reminder to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you click the little bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I post scheduled to go live, so you don't miss out. Barbara, will I be adding color to this one? White and red I think would be really cute on this one. Need a little bit more shading on the face here and under the chin. Yeah, definitely white colored pencil would look really nice on this. I could see also kind of tying it together with a red ornament. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. A red ornament and a red hat, I think would both look really cute. Okay, so taking a look at the text. Oh, I was going to do them, yeah. We'll do the text with the razor tip and that little ball shader to give you guys a different kind of look. Okay. Where'd he go? There we go. All right, so if you have a razor tip, they have some ball shaders too. This one is not plugged in, so I can show it to you here a little bit close up. There we go. And it's just a nice little round ball attached there, and that can be really helpful for some of the text. I don't think I need to be on a level 8 though. Let's try level 5. And then flip this over and just double check that a level 5 temperature is going to be adequate for our text. Nope, not quite. Let's go to a level 7. And the razor tip, these wire tip burners, they heat up very quickly. So that might be even a little bit too hot. Yeah, we'll go back down to a 6. So they're pretty instant as far as their heat, versus the a solid point burner generally takes about 5 minutes to get up to optimal temperature. Okay, this font is kind of skinny here, but that's still too hot. So I get that ghosting in there, which I don't like, but that's why I have a challenge with the wire tip burners, is that it seems like I'm kind of fiddling around with the temperature more so than actually burning. But, you know, a lot of people love the wire tip burners, and it's just kind of a personal preference, really. So I'm trying to focus on the vertical stuff first. And I'm kind of doing a pulling down motion for these. Play around and see what you like best, whether it's pulling down or pushing upwards. Okay, next we're going to add our feet to the text. And just a reminder for those that are new, when you add text to your wood burnings and then you sell your wood burnings, you need to be a little bit careful because text can be copyrighted. Fonts can be copyrighted. So if you add text to your own projects, double check that the fonts are approved for commercial license. I know it seems like kind of silly, but there are a lot of fonts that are copyrighted. So if you use that in like a newspaper or a magazine or artwork that you're going to sell, you have to abide by copyright laws for those as well. And this project that I have here over on Wood Burning University, this is a pattern, and I include both with and without text. You know, whether you buy just the photo or you buy the one with the text, you get all of them. So it's kind of a handy thing. These fonts are approved for commercial use, so don't worry about that. So I do plan on adding more patterns on Wood Burning University that include text that you can use. So just a reminder. Barbara, you can't wait to get back to your burner. You've been working mostly in watercolor and scratchboard. Those are fun too. So these scripty fonts I find are easier to burn than like the typewriter kind of serif one. And even, you know, I like to use fonts and text from the computer and then print it on like this, because if I try to freehand text, it's always like slanted and it doesn't turn out very even. So if I have to personalize a wood burning and put somebody's name on it, I will go ahead and print that text out and then transfer it on with graphite paper. I just find it looks so much cleaner and neater. Some people have really great flowing handwriting and they can get away with that, but I've found that I struggle with it. So I'll just go ahead and print it out. And the same thing like we were talking about a few weeks ago, I do the same thing with my signature a lot of times on wood burnings because you can't adjust it, you can't fix it. So I will do my signature, take a picture of it, put it on the computer, and then print it out and transfer it on to my art so it looks consistent and even and all that. And it doesn't look like a kindergartner wrote it, because that's what it would look like. Smaller educational projects like this, I generally sign on the back. Larger commission pieces, I will sign on the front. All right, well we're cruising right along here on this. Mina, it was a great idea to do both of these projects in one evening. Really, really glad that we went with that. It's a great idea. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. The text is kind of a little bit wobbly, so I'm just going to fill it in. But you can see how the center of that A, if you don't burn really away from it, it just kind of sinks down in there. Diane is asking if I've ever done wood burnings of sugar skulls. I have not. I've seen those, and that's a very good point, but I have not. Is that something that you like to do a lot of? Barbara, oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad that the patterns are helpful. That is really, really great. And your art guild is going to have a talk soon on copyright issues. Yes, definitely need to be mindful of that. But yeah, it can take a lot of work to select fonts and make sure that they're okay to use and You know, I'm like a font nerd, and at one point I used to be a newspaper publisher and of a state newspaper. It was just me and my mom as partners, and anyway, I would do the editing, and so I had this huge font library, like 10,000 fonts. I actually crashed a computer because of the fonts. So I really enjoy picking and choosing the different fonts to represent different styles, and it can take a lot of time. So I'm going to try to get more patterns for you guys with available fonts and sayings and all that, so you don't have to take the time to hunt and search for those. Diane says you've only done one, but would love to follow you doing a sugar skull burning. Cool. Well, we'll have to put that on the list. We throw out ideas all the time here and think about which projects to do in the future. And Mina is my lovely helper, and she is great at keeping an ongoing list of ideas and projects for us to consider. And then I have a paid platform also. It's like Mighty Networks, but it's much better. It's like Patreon, but it's much better. It's called Mighty Networks, and it has all my past live streams on there. So that's kind of my big library of projects. And those are available by skill level. So beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then diamond, premium, you get everything. So okay, so another thing that I like doing, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around here, but if you're interested in seeing some of our other past projects, this is Livestream, I think 158, 159. Anyway, so we have a ton of content over on Mighty Networks, and you get the patterns included in your membership. So this is a beginner pattern, so everybody on the network gets this. Oh, cool. Awesome, you're already there. Awesome, cool. Thanks. Sometimes it's hard for me to tie up names and faces, but awesome. Cool. All right, so you got it then. I think I want to add a border to this, and I've done this before to show you how to add a quick border. And I have been away from Mighty Networks for a while, so if you've recently joined, I probably haven't been on there much. My grandmother passed away last month, and I've been just gone so much with that. So you're welcome, Tracy. Yep, lots of good things to know about the fonts. So for the border here, you can see that this piece of wood has a little bit of a beveled edge to it, and I've done this before on live streams, but it's always, I really enjoy it. I'm just going to take the shading point and I'm going to run it right along that edge. And try to keep a consistent kind of edge to it. You can see the burner gets cooler as you go. But by kind of just skating along that outer edge, it is really easy to make a neat little border. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, my grandmother was 98, just celebrated 98 before she passed. Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well, Rick. Enjoy the night, and I hope you get some sleep, get some rest. Have a great weekend as well. Hey, hun.
Yep.
Would you mind grabbing me some colored pencils?
Sure.
Behind me, those 2 dishes of colored pencils back there.
Cool and warm.
Cool and warm. And just set them just over there so I can grab them. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're doing good on time here, guys. I might add a few adjustments to our kitty cat. He needs to be grounded. And then I think we'll have time to add some color. All right, so there's just a really nice, simple, quick border. Next up, kitty needs to be attached to the ground here.
Not a flying kitty.
No, not a floating kitty. We need to definitely ground them. And you can do this with really any other points. It'd be just fine. Whatever is comfortable for you to use. Everybody says hi. They say hi.
Oh, hi. From the fire tender
Uh-huh. Thank you.
and the pet tender.
All right, so after we attach that shadow underneath, we can kind of pull some of that shading out a little bit. I don't want to get too close to the text, but just enough here so our kitty's not floating away. Okay. So there we go. We're looking pretty good. I might just do a couple little touch-up things here, and then we'll grab some colored pencils. I just want to make sure that everything's in place, because once you add colored pencils, do not go back over and burn it again. You don't want to be exposing yourself to burning over pigment. It can produce some fumes that are not very good to breathe. Okay. Add a softening there. All right, this fella is pretty darn cute. So, let's see. I'm gonna turn that off, and then we'll go ahead and add our white colored pencil. I like to use the Prismacolor colored pencils. And let's zoom in again here. Thanks, Mina. It'll be blurry here for just a moment. Okay, there we go. So a lot of times with highlights, I like to put those in first. So I'm just going to draw in a little white shape here, and then when I add the red around it, it'll still be there, and we can add a touch of highlights there and there. Okay, so we definitely want the hat to be white. And again, like we talked about last week, I'm holding the pencil very flat on the wood like this. I'm not going to hold it like that because the wood is soft and I don't want to dent it. So small kind of circular type motion on the hat and the little fluffy end. And then this whole guy, I mean, I want that highlight there. We can just start lightly adding white, because to me, he's a white kitty cat. This is where you can really start to see where you did the wood burning. is the burner kind of burnishes the fibers of the wood. Move down just a bit. This is a fun project. I really am enjoying this one too. Kitties. We can cover quite a bit of ground. Okay, and the tail. Very cute. Okay, so I'm going to add the red here in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and hit the white with this colorless blender. It's also from Prismacolor, and I love how it just helps to sink the pigment down into the wood fibers a bit more. It'll soften and blend the edges too. Once again, holding it at a flatter angle and just really using those circular type motion. And it's okay if you go over the areas that you've already wood burned. And it leaves kind of crumbles, so I try to get those off of there. And one of the reasons that I like to start with the white first is because if I were to start with the red and then do the colorless blender with the red, and if I don't clean off this blender, it'll have a little bit of red there on the tip, and then you'll go over the white and you'll make pink. So make sure that your colorless blender is kind of cleaned off a little bit so you don't get cross-contamination there. Let's see what we have. We have Scarlet Lake, Crimson Red, and Crimson Lake. Scarlet Lake, Crimson Lake, Crimson Red. Okay. So I like to test my colors. So this is Crimson Lake. Oh, you know, that's one thing I found is that reds tend to break pretty badly. So there's a Crimson Lake for a test red. You guys can help me pick which color you like. Crimson Lake. We have Crimson Red. It's a little bit more orangey. And then we have Scarlet Lake. Oh, Scarlet Lake. That one's even more orangey. I'm kind of thinking the top one, Crimson Lake, is looking a little bit more like a Santa color. The other ones seem kind of more orangey. Vivian says, it's adorable. It's putting ideas in your head of adopting a kitty and dressing it up for Christmas. Oh, that'd be really sweet. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go with Crimson Lake on that one. Okay. Adjusting camera again. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Now, red can be a little bit overwhelming and a little bit overpowering, so I'm going to do smaller circles. Here I'm going to try to really avoid my highlight. But this is where, I mean, you can see the little tiny circles here. This is where that colorless blender is really going to help to tie this all together so it looks nice. I was always a bit frustrated trying to add colored pencils to wood burnings because it just wouldn't blend very well. And then I found those colorless blenders and made my life much better. Okay, so it seems like if it's not going to take much more pigment, I'll go ahead and switch to my colorless blender, and I'll push those fibers in. Sorry, push the pigment into the fibers. And it just makes it nice and smooth. So after you do that, if you want bolder color, you can go back and layer them. So I'm just gonna go and push this red a little bit more and make it richer. I'm trying not to add too much color down in the shadowy areas here where we burned. I want it to stay focused right up in here. And then hit it again with the blender. Now when you have red and you wipe it like that, you have to be a little careful because you can swipe and make it bleed. So just be careful of that. Now, question time here. Looking at our project. And I'll make it non-fuzzy. What do you guys think? A red hat or no red hat? Because it kind of, I mean, you could go either way. If all we do is make the ornament red, it kind of really draws the focus onto that. Or if you guys want me to make the hat red too, I can do that as well. And then you can see which one you like best. Barbara, red hat. Diane, red hat. Mina, Rhonda, Lisa, Vivian, everybody says red hat. Okay, let's go with the red hat then. All right, so I might zoom in just a little bit. Make sure you guys can see all that. A green hat would be cute too. I think since I already have red, I think we're gonna go with red here. And like we've talked about before, when you add color, bless you, you don't want to maybe overburn these areas that you're going to add color, because we need that, those fibers, sorry, the pigment needs to adhere to the wood fibers. And if you burn it really dark and shiny, it can't do that very well. So real light, I'm not pressing down hard at all, just kind of applying the pigment to that top layer of the wood. Barbara says that Derwent white drawing pencils work great on wood too. That's awesome, good to know. All right, here's our blender. Again, I like to go circular motion or even cross grain. If you go with the grain, sometimes I don't think that it blends very well. But I really like the circular motion. Okay, let's go through and add another layer. Try to fill in some of those gaps a bit. Tracy, that made the whole picture pop. Thanks. Mina says, cuteness overload. Aw. Alright, yeah. I've done that and, yeah, just like that. Made myself mad. Cuteness overload.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Love it, love it, love it.
Awesome. And then let's see.
It's really cute.
So for this guy here, we could add a little bit of color too. I have a few minutes. I'll need my pencil sharpener though. I think it might still be over on the floor over there from my move. Black chunky thing. Yeah, that one, that was just so sweet and adorable. Diane, I'm using Prismacolor colored pencils.
I found it.
Let's see. Lisa, are we meeting next Friday? Yes, I plan on being here next Friday.
This chunky thing.
Yep, that's the one. Best pencil sharpener ever. The Derwent. I just about dumped everything. Terry, yes. Oh, I did dump it all on here. I did make this one tonight too. I just dumped pencil shavings all over it. Okay, so I need a sharper. Let me set this over here. Sharper pencils to do this, and it can be difficult to get red very sharp because they tend to break. But let me do this, and we can do some like red and green Christmas lights. So see, that's my problem with the red. For some reason, the reds tend to break. Oh, you're not being... All right, I have malfunction. Okay, the red colored pencil has jammed up my sharpener. Okay. All right, adapt, improvise, and overcome. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's try this one. It's not working. Having challenges. I just plugged up my pencil sharpener. All right, let's see here. I can do some green lights for sure. All right. This one went pretty quick, Terry. This guy here. So we did this one in like 30-40 minutes, I think. Anyway, we'll just add some. You know, I'm almost wondering. Oh, we'll just go for it. We'll just add some green here and there since I have green and it's sharp and available. Excuse me. Thanks so much. Yeah, this has been a really fun project tonight. I'm just kind of jump around and add a few green here and there. I would like to get some red in there. Do I have anything that resembles red that's sharp? This is what I get for not always being prepared. I didn't think that we were going to get to add color tonight, but all right, I'm going to try this one. It's a little chunky, but we'll make it work. The Yuli watercolors would, I think, go nicely on this one as well. It's kitten. Wow, hi, sorry. Zoom in so you can see. They're pretty tiny. Somebody was saying, Barbara, green, yellow, blue, red, multicolored lights. We could do that too. So I will try to do some multi-colors. Let's go right there. And let's do one here. All right, what's next, guys? Yellow? You said yellow? Okay, we got yellow is over here. Let's take a look at some nice yellows. Okay, let's see what we have for yellow. Ooh, I like that one. That one is sunburst yellow. It's kind of chunky too, but keep going here. Barbara, you used the metallic paint on a watercolor snow scene last night and it made the snow shimmer. Oh, how cool. That's really neat. Yeah, if you don't have those Yuli watercolors yet, definitely put them on your Christmas list. They are so fun. And on that note, that will be our next project. Next Friday is we'll add color to the steampunk themed peacock that we made. That was a very big project. Took us, I think, 6 sessions to do. And yeah, it'll be fun. We'll add color to that. And blue, we said blue. Thinking of a pretty blue here. I don't want anything too dark. What is this? Copenhagen blue? That looks good, guys. I do believe. Now, if you were to clear coat this, I would strongly recommend that you use a spray-on finish instead of a brush-on finish, because if you brush over these pigments, they're going to go and go kind of crazy. So spray-on finish is the way to go. This guy is just plumb thrilled that he is tangled in lights. Cyan blue. Yeah, this is, it's called Copenhagen blue. It almost looks kind of like a cobalt or a Prussian, kind of. Okay, I have a couple more. I'm trying to space out my colors. We need a green in here. Could have counted, but I didn't. I'll go green on that one there. And blue. Now, another thing that you could do is add colored pencil to the text as well, if you want. That is really cute. You could still go back over and add a touch of those Yuli watercolors if you wanted to, just to kind of break it up a little bit. We can also add a couple highlights on this guy with white. Oop, I kind of got into the blue there. Bled a little bit. Haha, there we go. Oh, Barbara, you are right. I should have not burned the nose. It would be beautiful with red. Now, you could probably go back with the Yuli watercolors. They're very opaque. So you could probably go ahead and paint over those, and that would look just fine as well. And then, like with the colors, you could alternate them and do, you know, red, yellow, green, blue, and kind of make it look more wild and Christmassy too, if you wanted. But I really want to sharpen that red, and I'll have to clean out my pencil sharpener in order to do that. But so where'd the kitty cat go? Here is our trio of holiday projects. I have something here that needs to go over there. Okay, well, this has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were able to do all of these. And, you know, we could add a border to the other two also. That'd be just fine. But I hope you've had fun with these projects. They're all very different styles. We got to use different burners. We tried different text formats. Completely completely fun and different looks. So I hope that you guys have had fun with these projects. Remember that they are available on Mighty Networks. You get the patterns with your membership included. And if you don't want to do the membership thing, these patterns are available for purchase a la carte on Wood Burning University. And they're listed under the holiday themed patterns. So hope you find something that you like. So anyway, really appreciate everybody being here. I will be here next Friday for the live stream. We will be adding color to the peacock project, and then if anybody is available, Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain, I will be doing a little class for the Burn Club. And I don't know what I'll do yet, so I'll figure that out. Oh, Tracy, I just saw your question there about what color palette do I recommend. Yeah, for like the reindeer, the multicolored lights turned out really nice. I like that. So it just kind of depends on kind of what you're thinking for color. Color is so fun. Cool. All right. Fantastic. All right. Thanks again so much for being here, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.